Oh my god, what a freaking race that was! Welcome to this review of the 2020 Italian Grand Prix that saw Pierre Gasly takes his first ever win in Formula 1, the second ever for AlphaTauri, and the first win since 1996 for a Minardi driver. A race that was full of surprises and that we just could not wait until the end and see who was going to win. Carlos Sainz sadly missing by only a few tenths of a second, but until the last lap, I was here in my living room just jumping around. And it's just one of those crazy races like we have once or twice in a year. This year it was obviously Monza. And now it's really time to take a look at who are the winners and losers for this weekend of what was really a race where we wish we could have more of those. But before we start, I just want to remind you to quickly like, subscribe, and leave a comment on this channel. So let's start as usual with our winners, starting today with the obvious AlphaTauri. Second win in history for the old Minardi team. The first since 2008 when Sebastian Vettel took a victory here in Monza under the rain. Pierre Gasly takes his first ever Formula 1 victory in a crazy race that saw them take the lead after a red flag, and Pierre was astonishing under pressure and also becoming the first Frenchman to win an F1 race since 1996 with Olivier Panis. We know they have a decent car after a podium in Austria and regular point finish this season. This is even more meaningful for Gasly after a rough few seasons in Formula 1, getting ditched by Red Bull midway through 2019. Just amazing. Quick note on Daniel Kvyat, who also finishes in the point in 9th place for today. They were simply great. AlphaTauri deserves a 9.5 out of 10 for this weekend. On to McLaren. Only 0.4 seconds. That's how far they were from their first victory since Brazil 2012. The team will be gutted, yet they cannot leave dissatisfied when they never expected such a result. Carlos Sainz gets his best ever result in Formula 1, finishing second behind Gasly. Norris tried to fight but could not catch up to Lance Stroll and finishes fourth. Add to that a great qualification on Saturday and a strong pace even before the red flag that saw them run second and third for quite a while. They deserve this result. McLaren 9th out of 10. Racing Point. Perez will be dissatisfied to finish 10th, but that's how things goes in such a crazy race. But now we obviously have to talk about Lance Stroll, who takes his second podium in Formula 1 in 3rd place. A lucky one, people will say, but we have to give him credit for resisting to the pressure. The guy had not stopped prior to the red flag, meaning he got a 100% free change of tire, so he never lost any time for it. After the restart, he did fell in 5th place, but he was able to climb back a few places. Good job for the Canadian driver, who once again makes the most of the opportunities presented to him. 7.5 out of 10 for Racing Point. Williams. First off, a big shout out for Claire Williams. Her last race at the head of the team and the last race with the Williams family involved in F1. After 43 years, they leave the team in the hands of their new owners, Doralton Capital, and hopefully they can make a comeback to the glory of, and someday the Williams family maybe can run the team again. As for the race, the team didn't think they could do much after quali, getting the last 2 places on the grid, but again, that crazy race saw them get a glimpse at a point finish when Latifi restarted in 7th place and finishing 11th in the end. One more DNF and they would have made it. Russell, a bit more unlucky in the red flag and safety car shuffle, finishing 14th. Still, it was a nice day in Monza for them, and we have to leave them off as winner just for the Williams family. 7 out of 10. Alfa Romeo. They knew coming to Italy that they had the worst engine and that they would struggle. But in the end, they get the best cumulative result of all the Ferrari-powered cars, with both cars making it to the finish. At the restart after the red flag, Kimi ran in second place for a while, but just dropped down the order as that car was never able to keep up. Giovinazzi finishes last after taking a 10-second stop-go penalty for entering the pit lane while it was closed. Still, for the Ferrari honor, they are winner this weekend, 7 out of 10. Now on to the passing grades, starting with Renault. Average weekend again for the French team. They look strong in free practice, but once again cannot manage to unlock that power when it counts in quali and during the race. Running 5th before the red flag, the drivers were not able to catch up after it. Doing their own race and finishing 6th and 8th for Ricciardo and Ocon, they will need to regroup and figure out why they cannot get a good quali and get a good race when their practice pace seems so strong. 6 out of 10. Haas. Not a bad weekend, all things considered for Haas. Even though they didn't make it out of Q1 and Magnussen had to retire during the race, they get the best place finish of all the Ferrari power engine with a 12th place for Grosjean. Magnussen was quite happy with the car this weekend. This is now only a matter of improving it and hopefully get a better engine soon. There is really not much to say for them. They keep doing their work and we hope that we can see them back in the points where they belonged for quite a few years after a very strong first year in Formula 1, 6 out of 10. And now to our losers for this weekend. Starting with Mercedes. They had everything they could hope for. Even without party mode, they were the strongest by far in quali, and when the race started, Lewis Hamilton was pulling nearly a second lap to the other drivers. But came the first safety car and it all fell apart. Hamilton, pitting while the pit lane was closed, forced him to take a 10-second stop-go penalty that he had to serve right after the restart after a red flag because of their circumstances. He fell last, 20 seconds behind the pack, and from there it was only a matter of trying to make up as much ground as possible. Bottas also had a tough race, falling 6th after a very bad start and was never able to catch up to the others. This was his chance of making it into the big points when Hamilton fell last. The Mercedes was strong, but was one of the worst in the top speed, which doesn't help at Monza. The end result is a disappointing 5th for Bottas and 7th for Hamilton after starting 1 and 2. 5 out of 10 this weekend. Red Bull. Another team that should just forget this weekend. When they had such an opportunity to close the gap to Mercedes after the red flag. They qualified 5th and 9th, already not great result, but at the start Alex Albon just fell away after a mistake at the first chicane, and then Max Verstappen had to retire shortly after the restart because of an engine issue. This means that Red Bull are leaving Monza with 0 points. They seem to be the biggest loser in the party mode ban that started this weekend. I guess they just have to bear with it and move on from now. It's a 4 out of 10 for the Austrian team. From home hero to home zero. It's a home Grand Prix to forget for Ferrari that won here last year. We knew their car was draggy and the engine power is the worst on the grid. But at a track where speed and aerodynamic is everything, we now know for sure that they are even worse than we thought. Both cars missing top 10 in quali for the first time since 1984 and starting the race on the back foot. They look like they were going to finish behind both Alfa Romeos and maybe even the Haas this week. But brake failure for Vettel on lap 6 and the loss of control for Leclerc on lap 25 saw actually both cars retiring from the race, not even making it to the finish line. This time it's true. Things can't get any worse this season for them. I hope. So it's a 1 out of 10 for Ferrari. That's it, folks. Honestly, If you guys wish for a reverse grid race, I think you had it this week with what happened. It was an amazing race, and I thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you again next week for the Tuscan Grand Prix, which will also be the 1000th Ferrari ever Formula One race. Thank you for watching, guys, and see you next time.